No doubt Jurgen Klopp was delighted to see his team pick up all 3 points today. We know how crucial these points were, especially at this stage of the Premier League season. And you know what? Sometimes you just need your captain to step up. And that's exactly what Virgil van Dijk did. Here he is speaking post-match.
Virgil, you absolutely turned that game on its head in the second half. How happy are you with that performance, but in particular in the second half?
Very happy. I think we had plenty of opportunities in the first half to obviously score a goal as well. Fortunately, we didn't do it. But yeah, it's been an eventful game, and obviously with the man marking they do, you're gonna have spaces if you play it out in a good way. And I think second half, obviously, with the energy we put in and the goals we scored was very important.
Do you think that's what you needed? Just somebody to step up and score that first goal, and it just happened to be you? Yeah,
obviously I tried to be important with set pieces, not only defensively but obviously offensively as well. And I think there were a couple of moments that I was free, but the ball didn't arrive. And obviously this time it was a great ball and good equaliser.
What did Jurgen Klopp say to you at half-time? Because he didn't look happy after that first half.
Well, obviously no one was really satisfied with that first half, but more because we were too much in a rush, I think. Especially in the final third, I think we rushed it a little bit, didn't find the right pass, and obviously it's quite normal that maybe you start to become nervous a little bit up front, and obviously when you're not making the right decisions, you want to do it, but the reaction we showed today, is outstanding, and the resilience again, something that we need for the rest of the season, and today was a big one.
What was your mentality going out into that second half? Did you think, right, I need to step up now?
Well, I tried to step up on the first second, and so nothing has really changed. But I think it was key to stay calm, and obviously they're a good side. They play football. They take some risk as well in that, and when we win the ball up high, we have to punish them. And I think obviously we did that, especially in the second half with the energy we put in and the right decision we made as well. So overall, a great evening, and now it's time to recover and focus on the weekend.
How important is this result to go 4 points clear at the top of the table and know that you've got that in the bag going into Sunday?
Well, it is important in general to win games, especially with the fine margins, on the top of the table. But there's no point to look at the top of the table at the moment. It's only important for us to look ahead of who we're going to face. And today was a very important one and difficult one for many reasons. And but now we came through it well. I don't think there's any injuries now from tonight. And now it's time to recover and focus on the final.
Virgil, congratulations and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.
You can say one thing about Virgil van Dijk. He always leads by example. That was a captain's performance today, John.
Yeah, it was. And we were just talking while he was getting interviewed. He's been terrific again all season. Tonight, they're 1-0 down. They didn't feel sorry for themselves, Liverpool. They knew with a bit of patience in the second half they'd come back and score goals. And him with the equaliser, with a terrific header that we're about to see. And a real good captain's performance. But we say this all the time about him. He's so consistent. He's so good. I would really put him up there with, if not the best centre-back in the world, and he has been for a long time now.
He has, hasn't he? And I guess we have to actually give praise to all of the players out there today, because we highlighted at the top, this team without 10 senior first players. That's a huge miss for any side, but yet they managed to go out there and deliver.
Well, John and I were talking about the job of a manager and his staff in keeping all the players who aren't playing necessarily regularly happy, motivated. And one thing Klopp's done in his time, and especially this season, is the players who aren't always in the first 11, they're always ready. They're always in with the right attitude. You don't see any reports in the paper. You don't see any arms being thrown and people whinging and bad body language. They're always on it. They're always out to impress. And he's created that mentality. So, yes, the players deserve credit, but so does the manager and the coaching staff for creating that environment.
Yeah, and it could have been a different story with the way the first half went, because Luton, of course, were 1-0 up at half-time before VVD, as they just spoke about in that interview, came back to equalise. And that really turned the game on its head, that goal, didn't it, John?
It did. Well, it got the crowd up, because Luton scored after, 12 minutes, but the crowd certainly got up after this. And you can see Virgil van Dijk, he gets the run on Mengi, but it's really good play from Gakpo. he blocks Mengi, and Virgil van Dijk, look, you see this there, he gets a run on Mengi, but Virgil van Dijk, Gakpo plays his part, and just see it there.
It's a subtle block, John, isn't it, from Gakpo? Because we know with VAR, these blocks now are getting seen.
That's
it's
right.
a really subtle, it's one of those accidentally on purpose ones.
And what it is, Danny, it's off the training ground. That's worked on, and it almost worked. That was perfection tonight, the way that Gakpo just used his body to block Mengi, give Virgil van Dijk that aggressive run. You can see him just shaking off a player as he's going through. You can see in his face, he really wants to go and head that ball in. It's a great header. And as we said, it got Liverpool, obviously, back in the game.
Yes, and you actually said to me as we were watching it, look at his eyes. He knew exactly what he was doing and delivered it perfectly. Yeah,
I mean, these are the moments that can give that little bit of space for set plays. It's brilliantly worked. And it's Virgil van Dijk, ironically, was in that interview and he talked about it very subtly with a little smile as he said it. And it's done really well to actually get the lad who's tried to, tug him there, really shrugged him off well. But that's what leaders do. They needed that. They needed a goal from something like a set play, because everything else wasn't happening. And I think I agree with John. Van Dijk's been sensational this season.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from the Arsenal game. We'll let him have one bad one.
He can, can't he? Right, then Gakpo scored to put Liverpool 2-1 up.
Did.
But Danny, you spotted something really interesting in the build-up to this from Luton Town's perspective. Talk us through what happened.
Well, they were making a substitution at a really strange point because there was a throw-in for Liverpool really high really high up the pitch in the defensive third. If you see on the slow-mo here, Chong is chatting with his mate while a sub's going on. He is not looking at McAllister. He switched off for a second. This can happen. It's the player's fault as well as the man. I mean, you could argue the manager shouldn't make this play. He's too late. Then at the top of your screen, Osho. He's marking the goal scorer. He hasn't looked at the ball yet. He doesn't even know the ball's in play. And John will tell you at this level, a yard and you've not looked, you're done.
And he doesn't look at it at all, does he?
He doesn't look. I mean, Rob Edwards will probably think, why did I do it then? But the players have to take responsibility.
They have to take responsibility. And we were talking, Danny says he coaches a young team. And the one thing you tell the players, never take your eye off where the ball is. Because it's what he just got done there. Luton got done through poor concentration. It's brilliant from McAllister. Yes, he makes a great run. The throw in
there, John. Now look.
Oh, they're chatting away. They're looking like they're not interested. But you see McAllister there realising the throw in is perfect. He bounces it right in front of McAllister, and Osho is not even looking at Gakpo, the goal scorer. So you can blame both the players. It's a terrible goal from a Luton perspective.
In fact, the more I look at it, the more I'd take the responsibility away from Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
I don't care when you make a sub.
But why would he choose to make the sub then?
Well, because he probably believes his players are switched on enough. There could have been an injury, could have been a problem. We want to get 11 on the pitch, don't want 10. We don't know. But the reality is, if you're a player at that level and there's a sub being made, the first thing you're doing is going, where's my, when's the ball back in play?
It totally switched off, and that's not acceptable.
And it's fine margins in this game, but when you're at Anfield against Liverpool, to switch off for even a second obviously cost them. Well, we spoke about Diaz, didn't we? He finally got his goal, Danny.
Well, we talked half-time, didn't we, about Robertson as well, coming on the left. And he is more on the front foot, as we know, than Gomez. Look who wins the ball back here. There he is, Robertson. Oh, and he's getting in the box, creates a 2v1. Brilliant little finish from Diaz. But the reason he's got the ability to make the finish is because, well, partly they're on the ropes a bit. Robertson creates a 2v1, so the defender tried to guess. This is why they're in the title race. The 5 foot.
I love that. I love this. I love that. Shifts it away from
He
Mendy.
deserved it, by the way, didn't he?
I did, yeah. As I said earlier on, he could have got himself at least a couple of goals in the first half, so he'd have been delighted with getting on a score sheet tonight.
Yeah, he had 9 shots, didn't he, in total, and then he finally found the back of the net. And look, Liverpool's top scorers this season, you can see they've shared it around quite a bit. Salah with 19, Jota with 14, Nunez 13, Gakpo 11 and Luis Diaz with 10. And they're actually the first team to have 5 players reach 10 goals in Europe's top 5 leagues, and that is why they are top of the Premier League table.
Absolutely. If you can share the goals around, Danny will tell you, if you've got midfielders that can get into double figures, it takes an awful lot of pressure off your strikers. So that's a brilliant stat. 5 Liverpool players into double figures, and ultimately that could be the proving point.
Pretty impressive,
It's fantastic. It's been the reason why they are where they are still in 4 competitions. That variation in the front line. The only problem is we need 2 out of 3 back and quick, because there's some big games coming up.
Absolutely, but it didn't end there, did it? Because the scoreline ended 4-1, and it was Harvey Elliott that finally got on the score sheet as well, and he had a really good game, and this was his 100th appearance for Liverpool, so a nice one to mark with a goal.
He always likes to get on the ball, and he looks to make things happen. He's really busy, got wonderful left foot as he shows you. It's a great fit. He's straight first onto the ball, and that is just whipped in. He wraps his left foot around that ball. It's wonderful, what you'd say, whip. And he gets the right height, and that's unstoppable. You know, I know the goalkeeper's off his line and he's come for the ball, doesn't get it, but that is a fantastic... I know it's late in the game when they're 3-1 up, when he's full of confidence, but it's still a brilliant finish.
He's a great example of what I was talking about before. You know, even when he comes off the bench and does well, but he doesn't start the next one, he just waits and he bides his time. And every time he goes on that pitch, he tries to leave an impression and make an impact.
Yeah, that was his 3rd Premier League goal as well, John. What most impresses you about Harvey Elliott as a player? What do you like about him?
Well, I just like the fact that he goes hunting the ball. He very rarely wastes the ball. He's always trying to play forward. His first pass is always forward. We've seen him clip one into Diaz in the first couple of minutes. He's got a really good left foot. And he's a busy player, you know. We're all different. We all got our talents and what we can do differently on the pitch. Mine was heading the ball, getting hold of it down. He was a great passer of the ball, but in terms of Harvey Elliott, he can do so much when the ball's at his feet. He's a grafter, you know, and he's a wonderful talent. That's why he's in this Liverpool team.
So an impressive performance, especially in that second half from Liverpool. Let's hear from their manager, Jurgen Klopp.
You knew you were going to have to dig deep for that tonight against Luton, and second half, that's when it all came together and you just blew them away.
Exceptional game. Actually, I liked lots of the first half already. But I saw that the boys and the crowd didn't like it as much. We started okay, you have to get used to an opponent, stuff like this, and you could see the goal. And we had this big chance from Lucho. Then they scored their goal. And then all the situation, everything was good until the final third, and then we were in a rush. There was no really good shot or a really good cross to the standards the boys had. So 1-0 down, and we told the boys, honestly, if I ask you, you would say it's not a great game. I say it's a top game. What we have to improve and what we have to stop is caring about the result. We just have to be calmer in a decisive moment. We wouldn't say we became calmer, it was just the firework. So like, my God, wonderful goals, fantastic football, counter press to a level. And a fantastic night, and it's just really good.
You mentioned Lewis, he deserved that goal, didn't he? After all those chances.
Yeah, and then calm like you want, so he puts in the back of the net. Cody, what a game. Right, they were exceptional, I have to say. They were all exceptional. Queef, Keller, but what a difficult game with these set pieces in the second half, which came more often, where he had to fight against 8-9 men to get somehow a hand on the ball. Then the kids came on, the kids started, some of them, the others came on, and they did an incredible job. So it's cool how a culture educates the next generation, to be honest. And it's like, yes, Curtis is injured in a moment, but I said a few weeks ago, if Curtis Jones can learn defending, everybody can learn defending. And the boys, if you see a Bobby Clark and James McCallum, oh God, and Trey sitting outside, and you think, oh, maybe we bring him or stuff like this just because the boys are that good. But in general, how the stadium and the team together changed that game was just exceptional.
Just on the substitutions, it's such an important part to Liverpool. The academy, such a big part of the picture as well. And I was saying to Harvey Elliott, as you brought the teenagers on, he goes, they're not teenagers, they're not kids, they're senior players.
Yeah, that's what we ask them to do. We have to in these moments. So during a training week, they can be as old as they are actually. But if you put them in, you have to ignore that fact. You have just to be the best possible fit for the position you are playing, and the boys are ready. I wouldn't do that if they are not ready for it. I wouldn't bring Bobby 20 minutes with extra time, was probably longer. When it was 3-1, I think we all know, looked like Luton was a bit done now as well, but they score 1 goal and then the whole dynamic can change. So we trust them really a lot, because just what they do. They're usually in the B team when we have time to train, and they are a pain in the backside. To be honest, in training it's just like, oh my God, they're annoying like something, and that's really, really good. And they all made the next step, and it's really cool for the club.
You said after this match that you would see, or you were looking now ahead to the next game, which is on Sunday, and on what players you may have available to come back. Is there any update you can give us on that so far?
No, we don't know nothing. We don't know if they can go again. So that's the situation, how it is. We have to see that. But I said it as well before the game, as long as we have 11 players, we will go for it. And that's what happens on Sunday. We have injury problems. Will we be the big favorites in this game? Definitely not. But who cares? It's a final. We will try to make it as difficult as possible for Chelsea. We respect them a lot. We saw since we played them, they have improved a lot. So this will be tricky, definitely. But that's not my problem in the moment. I really want to enjoy these few minutes, use these few minutes to enjoy what I saw tonight, because this was exceptional. Before the game, I mentioned again the Barcelona game, not for just for the goals we scored, like the 8s in the box, so for different details which I usually use the game for. I told the boys, in future, I may not have to mention Barcelona, I can take Luton at home.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jürgen.
You're welcome.
Well, another huge game coming up for Liverpool, and that cup final against Chelsea is on Sunday. Another cup game against Southampton, then there's Forest and then Manchester City. That is a huge game. That could define which way the title goes. But, you said at the top, tonight was more important than Sunday. And now, Sunday's more important?
Now Sunday's more important than tonight. Yeah, now it's done. But that's the way to look at it. And I think you can be proud of the players tonight. Sunday's a big game for obvious reasons. Hopefully, Salah or Nunez, at least one will be back to join Gakpo and Diaz to add that bit more experience. I think Robertson will come back in.
Yeah, I do.
And I think he'll have to make a choice between Gomez at right back, because if Sterling plays on the left, obviously his experience, or whether he leaves Conor Bradley in there, we'll have to wait and see.
What would you do?
I'd play the young lad. Only because I think go after Chelsea. They're more in awe of you than you are of them. You've just beaten them 4-1 at home. He was man of the match, Conor Bradley. Let him go again.
It's a great game now as well, because Chelsea look as if they've turned the corner. A few wins under Pochettino. So that'll be great for them, going into a final. So it's a great game. I fancy Liverpool because I support Liverpool.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I've always liked Liverpool.
Good man, John.
Yeah, well, Ian Rush was my idol. I played with my hero. Not many people can say that. With the Welsh team, of course, Ian Rush. So, always been Liverpool. So, but as I said, Chelsea, they're good opponents, and it's one of those, I think, that could go either way. They're two very good sides. So, we'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed. We're very much looking forward to that League Cup final on Sunday between Liverpool and Chelsea. Right, let's get some Luton Town perspective on tonight's match and hear from the manager, Rob Edwards.
Rob, how would you assess that, the first 45 minutes? I thought you were going to go and cause a bit of an upset here.
Yeah, well, I thought the first half performance was good. Second half, I thought we saw Anfield and we saw Liverpool at their best, that full throttle football, real quality as well, but their counter-pressing was brilliant. Probably played into their hands a little bit too often in some moments, but it was there was a noise then. The fans were incredible, and it was probably difficult for some of the players to think. And when they got those 2 quick goals, it was hard then to wrestle any sort of control or get any momentum back in the game. So, huge credit to them for turning the game around. Our players deserve a lot of credit as well, because I thought we performed really well, particularly in the first half. But second half, we kept going. We kept trying to do the right things for that we believe are for us. We kept stepping forward. We didn't sit back, and I think if we had sat back today and with the way they were playing, especially in the second half, it could have been more. So bits for us to learn and improve on. There always will be, but a lot to be proud of, and we can take a lot of positives still from tonight, even though we've lost and probably lost well in the end. There was lots of things that were good about us tonight.
And I think we say that every time when we watch Luton Town. There's lots of things that are good about them, yet they're not managing to turn those performances into 3 points. That said, they've had a tough fixture list. Just played Man United. They've played Liverpool. They've got Villa to come next. But then Palace, Bournemouth, Forest, a real opportunity there to now start picking up the wins.
Yeah, they've got to beat the teams in and around them. They knew at the start of the season they'll take some drubbings. They'll take some real heavy defeats during the season when they go away at really difficult venues like Liverpool have been. Saying that, they got a really good 4-4 at Newcastle. They beat Brighton at home 4-0, so that they can turn it on. You know, Luton can produce wins. They've got 20 points from 25 games this season. I think they look the more likely to stay up from the three teams, Burnley and Sheffield United, that got promoted. So I would say in the next 15 games, they're probably going to have to win about 4 of them. You know, that takes them to 32 points and then a few more draws. Because I think Sheffield United and Burnley are so tailed off. They're 7 points, bottom 2, you know, with Luton 7 points ahead in 20. So, as I said, I just think Luton got to try and get, you know, another 4 wins out of 15 games, and then hopefully Everton, Forest, Palace have a little bit of blip themselves.
Luton Town to stay up this season?
I think they might just fail based on the lack of quality, yeah. And experience, game management at times. All their games are great to watch, and I'm not criticising them. They're having a right good go with what they've got. But a lot of their players haven't been at this level before, and sometimes you can tell.
OK, well, on that note, it's time for us to say bye. Thank you to both of my guests.
Pleasure.
Thanks for your company. Liverpool go 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League table.
Thoughts on the Manchester City versus Brentford game ending in City winning 1-0. At the offset, you might have thought this game is done and dusted since City won 3-1 at Brentford home ground on the 5th of this month, and this game is in the Etihad. Well, in football, and especially in the Premier League, this is many times not the case. The unpredictable nature of games, where the bottom side could draw or beat the top side on any given day, is the reason why the league is so entertaining and exciting to watch. Brentford, just the next week after their loss to City, went and beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-0. They put up a good fight against Liverpool at their home ground, eventually falling 1-4. The Brentford team under coach Thomas Frank were a good side, on the day a thorn in City's side in the past too. Manchester City this season have not been exceptional until the Club World Cup. With KDB and Haaland coming back, they looked imperious again as they stack up wins for a stretch. Then came this weekend's surprise draw against Chelsea 1-1. The combination of Chelsea's fast-paced play and resolute defending added to the one-in-a-while inability of Haaland to score took its toll. In fairness, if City had taken one of their chances, they would have won. Still, you have to admire Chelsea for the way they came out to attack who arguably are the best in the league and the world. Brentford came with a game plan to frustrate the holding champions and then hit them on the counter whenever they get the chance. It worked in the first half. Brentford had one very good one-on-one chance with City goalkeeper Ederson, when Janelt failed to shoot past him. There are 2 very good chances for Manchester City. The first is a pass from Walker on the left which found Bernardo Silva in the box, who heads the ball wide. The second is when Oscar Bob dribbles past Brentford defender and shoots past the goalkeeper, only to be cleared just on the line by defender Ben Mee. City came second half all guns blazing. Jeremy Doku substituted Oscar in the 61st minute. In the 71st minute they finally had a goal. A sumptuous pass to Haaland takes him towards the goal where the last defender, Adja, slips and he was one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He did not miss and took the chance. All in all, Manchester City were pretty much dominant in possession, although at times they look a little passive, helped of course by the resolute defending of Brentford.